Howdy, I'm Helgast. Since Yu-Gi-Oh as a whole recently turned 25 and still going strong, which is a feat for a card game, to achieve this, the developers had to change the meta significantly like most long-term games. Now, unlike other card games that deal with this by changing the format or limiting older cards, something Yu-Gi-Oh decided not to do as most old cards are allowed, except for a handful of them just for the balance. On top of that, Yu-Gi-Oh has brought a lot of new mechanics throughout the years, which has brought a lot of feature creep, making it daunting for new players just to hop in.
Here's 9 decks and Master Duels that are simple for new players. Now these aren't in any particular order, so let's get started.
Sword Souls is still a relevant deck in Master Duels because it's just good. They allow you to learn about the Synchro Summoning since all you need is a Sword Soul monster and a Sword Soul token to make 3 Synchro monsters. Most of their cards bring out tokens, so that's also really easy to do. But the deck excels past just being a good beginner deck, as they have a lot of synergies with other archetypes. Like Tenny, you can use the tokens to bring out a bigger Tenny monster, or do the same with the Yang Zing monsters. This deck allows you to experiment and expand your playstyle, after you get the understanding of the base Sword Souls, of course. And since Konami has introduced a Sword Soul secret pack, they are easier to get than ever before. Sharks allow you to learn the XYZ mechanic, as the deck's all about making a bigger, badder monster. All you need is 2 level 4 shark monsters to create a strong rank 4 XYZ shark. Like a good chunk of XYZ monsters, it has good synergy with other decks, just because how easy it is you can make a rank 4 XYZ monster. The most infamous combo with sharks was the Crooked Cook Exodia, where you use a shark to special summon Buzzsaw Shark to get Right Hand Shark. After that, special summon Crooked Cook, but since you use Right Hand Shark as a material, Crooked Cook cannot be destroyed, allowing you to tank for a while to get Exodia. That's just one example for the archetype. It's flexible, allowing you to really go crazy. These dudes are extremely cheap compared to most other archetypes in Master Duels. The most expensive cards just require super rare materials, and only 2 of them need this material, so Dino Mist won't be tugging at your resource wallet. The game's solo mode gives you a chunk of the cards for free, and if you need more of these cards, it also gives you the secret pack that you can start opening to get more of them. The deck itself allows you to learn the most daunting mechanic in Yu-Gi-Oh, Pendulum Summoning. A mechanic that seems super easy to understand. Sort of like 2 plus 2, except here the teacher slaps you in the face and says the answer is 1 all along. So Dino Mist work with you putting a 3P scale on one pendulum zone followed by a 6 scale on the other. And bam, your pendulum summoning is complete. You can summon any Dino Mist from your hand, and one from your extra deck if you decide that you're packing. The biggest downside is there's not that many synergies with other decks. Most players tend to just combine it with Draco Slayers, which aren't really beginner friendly, but when you get more confidence, there is a deck that you can combine it with. Eldages are straightforward, with the main strat being to summon the big man and then to flip either trap that they have. It's a simple playstyle, and Eldritch allows you to run a lot of annoying traps like Skill Drain or Torrential Tribute, which makes it so all creatures with effects can be negated while destroying every monster on the field. The archetype fits great in any zombie deck, especially the structure one that you can get for 500 gems, which is dirt cheap in Konami prices. It's a rather laid-back deck that you can really expand to make your own. In terms of meta, Eldritch isn't too relevant because he's a level 10, so nowadays most players that run it just XYZ him into a bigger man, like into Cannon Gustavs to deal 2000 damage to your opponents, then XYZ the cannon into Super Dreadnought Juggernaut Libe, which can add a lot of attack to hit your opponent for huge damage. Danger is just a good archetype that fits into many decks and are extremely easy to understand. They work when the danger monster is activated, you reveal a card in your hand, and discard it. If you didn't reveal the monster you activated, the card is summoned on the field, and you draw a card to make up the one you used. While most danger cards that do get thrown into the grave have their own graveyard effects that can range from destroying a monster, destroying a set card, lowering attack, just special summoning a monster from your thing. It's just good. But they synergize best with decks that want their cards discarded, like Dark World, Thunder Dragon, or even Fabled if you're feeling spicy. Like one example, if you use the Danger Monster and it manages to discard Brow the Huntsman, which if Brow is discarded by a card effect, you draw another card, it allows you to draw 2 cards instead of just 1, which is always good. It's great, and now I'm going to go off the script real quick, because if you plan on using Dangers, I also recommend the Calculator. Its attacks is the combined levels of all of your face-up monsters times 300. With a good chunk of the Danger monsters being special summoned, and being rather high level, this bad boy can get some serious damage. It also allows you to bait out some negates or destruction spells of some sort. So if you have a boss monster that isn't protected for some reason, then you can have Calculator bait out that spell. There is a solo mode for dangers, which means you can get a chunk of the cards for them for free, and you unlock its secret pack through the solo gate. In the same pack as danger are kaijus, and they're just strong cards that are useful for anyone to have. Invoked is an infamous deck due to their cards being able to be used in almost any deck.
It just happens to be a really good starter for any match. As the main strategy is to normal summon Alistair the Invoker to get Invocation. Then use Invocation to fusion summon a monster using monsters from your hand. But if you happen to summon an invoked fusion monster, you can use monsters from either player's graveyards to fusion summon. Using Invocation, you're going to want to summon Invoked Mechaba, as it gives you a negate, which is just useful to have in any Yu-Gi-Oh deck. That tends to be the main strategy, and it works with any deck that doesn't need a normal summon, since you can just summon Alistair to create the Invoked Mechaba combo.
Against all the evil that hell can conjure, all the wickedness that mankind can produce, we will send unto them only you. Rip and tear until it is done.
I noticed it's simple a lot, but Time Lords are the simplest deck on the list. As your playstyle is just a normal summon a Time Lord when you don't control any other monster,
They don't have any attack power, but they also don't take any battle damage.
if they do battle in some way, they are packing some inconvenient effects, like shuffling cards your opponent has into their deck, while their second game plan is to hit the player with a lot of burn damage, which can range from small hits of 500 life points to flat out having your opponent's life entirely. Now this is hard to do with just Time Lords, so make sure you pack in some battle fodder as well, as their win condition is not to kill you traditionally, it's to kill you by being really fucking annoying. They're not too strong in terms of the meta, but they are easy to understand and play. Plus, if you play a Yu-Gi-Oh event that just sucks ass, you can just drag Time Lords in there since they're never banned for some reason. Qliphort is another good archetype to learn how to pendulum summon. The game plan is to pendulum summon as many monsters whenever able. Try to make the link to Qliphort Jinisu. It will help get more Qliphorts out. Once you have 3 or more monsters, you can tribute for Qliphort Towers, the boss monster of the deck. Fun fact, Qliphort Towers is where the term tower monster comes from in Yu-Gi-Oh! A tower monster has good stats and is completely unaffected by card types. Qliphort Towers can be difficult to deal with if you have more annoying traps. Or Requelt. Didn't say it right? Here's a picture of the card. To negate many other monster effects your opponent has. Unfortunately, this deck doesn't have too many crazy synergies. It also is kind of expensive, but if you want a good and simple pendulum deck with a boss monster, then Qliphorit's for you. Florinderies? I'm just gonna fucking call him Flute. Now I'm not gonna lie, this is the most expensive deck on the list, but it's a good deck, and also simple and easy to use, yada yada yada. The game plan is normal, to special summon a Flu monster, preferably Robina, to add another Flu monster to your hand from somewhere, and then you get an extra normal summon, to do it again, and again, until you tribute summon a high level winged beast, like Epin, or some good generic Mist Valley Falcon, or Razia, the Mega Monarch. This deck can also play with Dimension Shifter and Dimensional Fissure, since your cards benefit from being banished. There is no extra deck, no special summoning in the decks, so you can run Pot of Duality and Extravagance with no downsides besides being able to draw 2 more cards for the turn. This deck's still pretty good despite constantly taking hits from the banned list multiple times. So it's good for players that want to rank up fast, but there isn't really a reason to rush it. Since getting higher ranks early on is easy, it only gets somewhat difficult later on when you can actually start D-ranking. Oh, well, there's no outro in for this video. Tune in next time for a video. I don't know what it is yet. I have an idea of what it might be, but I'm indecisive as fuck. But if you liked it, why not subscribe to see more videos? Until then, have a fantastic day.
Time to rock.